This is my father, Malcolm John Brooker. I documented his cancer fight right up to his death on the 15th of May, just past 3 o'clock. This is his story. To me, cancer, it's kind of been always a part of my life. I think my father was first diagnosed when I was 11 or 12, and at first you just think your dad's ill. You don't really think much of it. You just think he's slightly under the weather growing up. You don't really pay much attention to death, and illnesses. But to me, personally, cancer is one of them things where it has affected me massively, but also hasn't. It's because it's become a norm in my life. So the idea to document my dad's, journey from diagnosis to his death kind of came just after I graduated university. I knew I wanted to make something. Kind of healthcare had always been a massive part of my life, and I wanted to do something, to give something back really, and I thought I could use my creative skills to do so.
They wanted to move to the deeper part. Up from work, he's still, able, completely compass mentis, been able to have.
Yeah, and I can hear the ducks because they're all behind down there. And
when someone says cancer, the things that go through my head really are kind of, I have images of my dad in his last couple of days, before he passed. I suppose if you had asked me that question, a month, a week, 2 months before my dad passed, I would just associate my dad with cancer, but kind of not in a negative way, but not in a positive way. It was just a disease that everyone knows. It was just something that it was just a part of my life. I think as a nation, we shy away from kind of being honest and open. So I kind of wanted to make this documentary to show people that although you have cancer, it's not the end of your life. You still can have a good quality of life, even if you've been given a terminal diagnosis. And that was certainly the case with my father. Right up to those last few days, he had precious time with us all, and that's all because we didn't shy away from what's going on. It was this, out in the open cancer conversation that really lifted this burden, and we could discuss, we felt like we could discuss anything and everything. Because the thing with my dad, everyone always used to say to him, "Oh, you look so well," "Oh, you look great." He can't have cancer. He's not that old. And then within those last 4 days, he changed dramatically. So from saying, "Oh, I'm fine, look at me, I'm out and about doing things," to suddenly nothing. That's a massive impact, and I think that's one of the reasons we really started the documentary, to kind of show people how cancer isn't just this thing that people live with. It changes everything in your life. Now when someone says to me, "What do I think of cancer?" I'm instantly taken to those images of my dad in his final moments. The stress, the panic, the sadness that was in my house for that week. Because although we all knew Dad was going to die, that last week really brought home kind of the impact cancer has on people. So I know lots of families where if you talk about cancer or death, people don't like talking about it. And of course that's fine, it's a sad subject, why would you? But I think it's healthy if we do start talking about cancer and how it affects people. My father wanted to make this documentary because he wanted to open up a discussion. He wanted people to be able to talk about living with a loved one with cancer, and that it isn't a taboo subject to be ignored. People with cancer still have a valuable contribution to make. They're still part of a family. They still have a voice. In a weird way, I had this unique opportunity because my dad, my own family, my own flesh and blood, had this illness. So I thought, instead of kind of moping around, which sounds really horrible saying that, but instead of moping around, being sad, kind of just watching my dad die, I thought, let's make something from this. Let's give something back through making this documentary. And I'm glad we made this. I'm so proud of this documentary, and I really hope, if anything, it gets people chatting and just kind of shows people in a way as well what to expect. Cancer is many different things to different people. It's a destructive, horrible disease which causes untold misery, but strangely, it brought our family closer together. It changed our lives, and in some cases, for the better, oddly enough. As a family, we were able to have an open and honest conversation with my father. We talked about his illness, and we didn't hide behind the diagnosis. He had many years of love and happiness, and I'm proud of my father for how he handled his own death with dignity and honesty, and allowed us, as a family, to be part of the world right up to the end. and hopefully this film will now help other people going through a similar experience.